Hi guys, Jay Smith here. Welcome to AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Stix Golf Complete Package Set. This is not a beginner's package set. This is absolutely targeted towards the intermediate market, the golfer that's coming away from the beginner's set and wants something a little bit more premium. And when I got these out of the box, if you just look at everything that this golf set does, it just looks lovely. I wanted to adore these golf clubs because Stix Golf have done an amazing job aesthetically at making everything just fit wonderfully. Just going by the bag first, we'll look at the golf clubs in a sec, but the bag itself, the materials, what it looks like, its feel is just great. There's a couple of little things that I would like Stix Golf to do would be, this is a carry bag, as you can see, it has got straps. I don't know if they make a cart bag option. I think it would be a good idea if they did, not quite sure. If they do, then great. If they don't, make a cart bag option if you can. But the carry straps, this is the UK, we do carry quite a bit, and as you can see, they're okay, they're absolutely fine. Nice material on the top here, but they could be a little bit thicker. The only thing I would also say is you can see these poppers on the side here. These are for the rain hoods. And this did not come with a rain hood. Now again, if that was missed or it does or doesn't come, I don't know, but it would be good if it did. But then again, I don't play in the rain. I'm a fair weather golfer, so I don't need it. When it comes to golf clubs though, I would say, if anything, it gets better. Let's just look at the irons first. They're black. Now I've got the black option. I think they do come in silver as well, but the black option with the black PV coated shaft looks really nice. Obviously black grip. But this is a player's distance iron, so it does have a hollow body. It has got technology in there. I'll pop some of the information up on there, what's inside this head. We do have tech in there to try and make consistency, ball speed, etc. But just look at it. It does look really good. I have this in the Stix Steel 120 stiff shaft. There is one thing I would like to say when it comes to the shaft of the driver. We'll get to that one in a sec. But it's a really good premium option. One other thing that I really like, and I really like it, is that little red line-up line, that kind of accent line at the bottom in the bottom scoring line. No different to the bag. It's got little tabs, everything's got a little bit of red here, a little bit of red there on black. The red and black look great. Now, of course, that's subjective. Different people will like different things, but personally, I really do like it. It's a very sleek looking golf club. Top lines on this iron, this is a player's distance iron, and I do not think, I can think in my head at least, of another player's distance iron with a top line as thin as this. This really looks good. Sole thickness isn't massive from this iron, so again, we are talking about this as an intermediate player, someone who's not necessarily afraid too much of not having super massive soles and a super sized head to try and get as much confidence as possible. It's really very nice. So to the driver, we have got obviously a full set of golf clubs, but driver. This is the only quibble I would say when it comes to the shaft. Oh, by the way, when it comes to the head cover is relatively cheap. Obviously, it's not the most premium, thickest thing in the world, but it has got a very nice internal, so lovely winter mitt. When it comes to the head, we do have a carbon crown, so we have tech there. And of course, part of the website says that this is 99% of the performance. Obviously, when we're talking about a 700, 600, 500 pound drivers that you do get nowadays, when this is obviously nowhere near the price. The whole thing, the whole package, it's about $1,500, which is about 1,200 pounds or so. And I think at the moment, because it's Black Friday, they are doing a deal as well, down to about $1,200, which you can see is a lot of equipment for the money. So we do have carbon crowns, we do have tech in there, but the shaft, this is the one thing I would like to say when it comes to the driver. Stix Golf, if you are watching, do something about the shaft when it comes to the driver. It does not match the iron. So the iron is steel, stiff 120. It's a fairly steel, stiff 120. When it comes to the driver, this is a 60 and stiff. However, I'm not going to do this too much because I feel like I can easily break it. This thing is whippy. So if you are put off by some serious whip, they do a regular flex as well. I'm not quite sure what the regular flex is going to be. It's probably going to be able to be kind of folded back on itself. One of those balloons that you can kind of make dogs and stuff out of. They do obviously fairway woods as well. They've still got the same similar shaft in there. Still a little bit flexy, but there you go. And no different to hybrid. So it goes driver, Fairway wood hybrid, I can't remember what this one is. It's a, how many degree? 4 hybrid, 21 degrees before you then go into the irons. Now on the iron front, we do have 4 iron, yes, 4 iron, all the way down to a 60-degree wedge. Sorry, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be testing these out. I'll hit a few wedge shots first, then a few iron shots, and then with the big dog to see how these perform. I will then also be doing my full testing on it. I'll hit it all over the face and see how well it does in a normal heat map style. This obviously is a fairly budget-orientated package set. When it comes to 3 different swing speeds, we'll also be doing the 70, 80, 90 miles an hour with the iron, and then also the 80, 95, and 110 miles an hour with the driver. Let's go see how well they actually work. So very quickly to the wedges, we'll go into the iron straight away. I am 60 or so yards away, no biggie one there, I'm just going to give it a hit. It does come in 60, 56 and 52, all black again, and it does look very, very nice. Very nice, nice and sleek. The wedges, 60 yards or so. Looks nice down by the golf ball, can't complain at all. Oh, pushed it slightly. And a bit too far. But feel off the face is not bad. Can't complain too much about it. Obviously, we don't know how much they cost per wedge as such, but we're not looking a lot of money, and it just does a decent job. There's nothing wrong with this golf club at all. And of course, if you're going to go into your grinds and what kind of specifications, soles you need, there's so many different manufacturers out there that give everyone the opportunity to go crazy when it comes to their specific grinds and sole options. Maybe a fraction too hard again. Yeah, but pretty darn decent. It just feels good. It feels nice. I like it. I really do. I'll hit one more. But there's nothing I can complain. I mean, I'm fairly boring when it comes to my requirements for sole. I'm not someone who needs a certain grind in here. Yes, for certain wedges, I will want a certain thing, especially if it's like lob wedge, etc. But when it comes to 56 to 52, of course, they make the 60 as well. This kind of wedge will absolutely do me fine. I could absolutely play these wedges. I don't do a lot of complicated stuff around the green. When it comes to my 58, not my 60, I haven't got a 60 in my 58, yes, I want a little bit of relief, so I can utilize a little bit more of the sole, but for the vast majority of golfers who aren't short game gurus, absolutely, this is perfectly fine. And too far, definitely. Straight over the pin, but way too far. It just feels good. I can't complain at all. I like it. I like the color. I like the feel of it. Of course, there's no load going through this. I'm swinging at a 60 odd yards away. It's nothing. Right, let's go flick over to the 7-iron. Let's go put it on a proper hole. Let's go into a green. Let's go see how the 7-iron player's distance iron gets on. Okay, so I've got the 7-iron in my hands now, and again, I will reiterate this. This does look really very nice. All in black. It's a very, very aesthetically lovely set of golf clubs. So that top line, very, very thin. Again, I have not seen a player's distance iron. This is hollow bodied. I like the back of it where this got slightly milled. If I was honest, it does look very much so similar to a Tacoma 101T. It does, without the chromey bits, and of course this is the black option, but it just looks really very, very nice. And that red line-up line, that little kind of accent line down by the golf ball, it does look really good. Right, we are got the lofts on the screen. I can't remember what this is exactly off the top of my head. 29 degrees, something like that. But again, put the lofts up on there so you can see. Will we get there? Will we not? Let's not go too fast because of the knee. And that's nowhere near the middle. It's very low on the face. But we are at the nice part of the green because you don't want to go left or right. As you can see, clubber speed's nice and slow, which I like because it saves the knee, 85.3 miles an hour. Club path, a couple of degrees, more like 3.9 from the inside, and 1.3 closed, got a little baby draw. The slower I go, the more inside I tend to go, but that's fairly natural. 0 mil heel, very good laterally, but shall we say slightly low on the face, 10 millimeters low. And you could feel it. You can definitely feel it when you don't catch this one in the middle. It's done okay. It's carried basically 160 yards, 3.2 yards offline, 31 yards in the air, and 47 degrees descent angle, 46.7. It's working. It's doing absolutely fine considering the pilot error rather than anything else. Not easiest thing to critique the feel when you hit it 10 millimeters low, although I could feel it, which is good. We'll hit a couple more, hopefully I can get closer to the middle. Oh, well, that's a shame. Face is massively open, but the strike was pretty good. It's on the dance floor, that is the good thing about it. Long putt, mind. Yep, strike is much, much better. Club speed, nearly 86 miles an hour, 85.8. Club path, 1.4 from the inside, and face is 1.3 open. That's where you start right and go right. That's my fault again. But 5 mil heel, 0 mil low, so strike is much, much better and does feel much, much better when you hit it somewhere close to the middle. Carries 164 yards, which is not bad considering I am swinging it a little bit slower. Offline is 11.9 yards to the right, 12 yards to the right, 36 feet. Not the greatest, but again, that is me, not the golf club. 36 yards in the air and 49 degrees descent angle. Stopping on the green, which we like to see. Works really well, feels really good. I will give it one more go, just so I can actually hit it into somewhat close to the pin, if I can get there. Again, I got the rights today, it seems, but pretty darn okay. Hitting green twice on the bounce. Well, that's low on the face again and slightly right again. Face was good, just path now, I think, but a good result, you take it. Club speed 85.7 miles an hour, at least that's consistent. Club path 2.1 from the inside, and face was basically 0, 0.0, perfect, no problem there. 3 mil heel, 8 millimeters low, there's the low again, but it's doing okay considering that is my fault, not the golf club. We are going 162 yards of carry, 173 total, 5.6 yards offline, but still that's really pretty darn decent. What's that, 17 yards, 17 feet I think it is off of line, 17 foot putt from this distance, 170 odd. You'd take that all day long. 34.5 yards in the air, 48.5 degrees descent angle, working fine. Now, how does it work out of the middle and how's that working from there? Relevant to the middle, I don't know. We'll have to see that when it comes to our heat map. I haven't done a very good job of hitting the middle, but again, I'm focused on hitting target, and of which I've done 3 out of 3, so I'll take that one straight away. Right, let's go flick over to the driver. Let's go see how that feels. It does feel rather nice, this player's distance iron. Do I know it's a player's distance iron, even the one I did hit out the middle? Yes, definitely has got that hollow feeling, but you can feel when you don't hit the middle. I'm getting a decent amount of feedback from one of these. Of course, when you go into technology-driven heads, you can start losing that lovely feedback that we like to have. Right, let's go flick over to the driver and let's go see how well that does. Back with the driver, I have that in hand. We take the head cover off, remember. Very nice wind to me. It does feel nice inside, nice and soft and comfortable. Right, we've got technology inside this head. We have got the carbon crown. We spoke about the carbon crown. They are saying to try and lower the CG, etc. 99% of the performance, they say, of the $650 golf clubs that are available, and yeah, they do get very expensive nowadays. We are at a hole where, as you can see, this is drivable, 268 yards I think it is. I'm not going to be swinging my full amount because of the knee, etc. But that green is so small, and we have bunkers and everything else around. Anywhere near is a win. Would you actually be hitting driver? Of course you wouldn't. But it is YouTube, so why the heck not? Right, let's go give this one a hit. I do like the red lineup line down by the golf ball. It does look really very nice with that carbon looking straight back at you. Slightly open face, but again, this is going to be on. Now stop, please stop, because that's good. I'm taking that. Stop, don't move. That's a win. Club speed, 101 or so miles an hour, 102, we'll call it 102, round it up. Club path 0, 0.0, and face was open by 2.5 degrees. Now, I've hit this a few times during practice, just to warm up more than anything else, and 2.5 degrees open. This does feel, shall we say, slightly on the side of draw biased. The 2.5 degrees open, if I'm hitting 2.5 degrees open normally, that bye-bye. But I'm feeling on this golf club I need to hold it off to have some chance of hitting target. I mean, it's 10 mil toe, 3 mil high, so it's not a poor strike. It's not the best strike in the world, but it's not poor. And it is 27 yards offline. 252 yards of carry. 102 miles an hour. We'll give it another go. Feels okay, but you can definitely feel the spaghetti shaft. Let's try and do a bit better on the shaft front, shall we, Stix? That should be closer to target line when it comes to on there. That will still probably show right, but we are running up nicely. Oh my word. Yep, you'll take that one all day long. Club speed 102.3 miles an hour, club par 0.6 from the inside, and face is open by 0.9. So face is slightly open. We are hitting it 12 mil toe, 3 mil low, so it is slightly toey, but that is drawing, and that is with an open face. So it does tend to want, I can feel, to want to draw. We are going 248 yards of carry, 274 total distance. Again, that's not going very high, 24 yards in the air and 31 degrees descent angle. That is going to hit the ground and shoot forward, as you saw, by being very, very close to the hole. You'll take that one all day long. Okay, does it feel, with that shaft being very whippy, I will say one thing. When you don't hit the middle, there is a lot of twisting going on. And does it take away from the feel? It does a little bit, because it is so bendy. Whenever you don't hit it in the middle and there's some torque going, there's some twisting going on, you do feel it. Now, of course, you could argue saying, well, just do a better job of hitting the middle, and that is a very valid point. But when you do not hit the middle, you do get some twisting. Is it a very good result? Yes, I'm swinging 102 miles an hour. It's doing fine. It's slightly low launching. It is low spinning. I can see that already at the moment. It'll be interesting to see, because obviously we'll test it as we normally do. I want to see how well this works when it comes to its low center of gravity. Obviously on their website they do say has a low center of gravity. So it will be interesting how good the launch factor of this golf club is, because at the moment 11 degrees of launch is not massive, and spins of 2000, which is not massive. Again, if you're going to go too slow on this, it will be interesting to see if you've got enough spin to get the ball in the air and stay there. That's going to be on the edge. I think I'm going to miss it though. It's a decent effort, although that's in the rough. Club head speed basically at 104 miles an hour. Club path 1.4 from the inside, 1.4 degrees from the inside, and face is open by 1.7 degrees. Open by 1.7 degrees. The strike is good, 3 mil toe, 0 mil low, very good, can't complain at all. Yet that is drawing. That has got a certain amount of tilt axis to the left. That is drawing with a face 1.7 degrees open. I'm detecting already that this might be somewhat draw bias, but we'll check in the advanced gauges in a little bit later on. It's going 257 yards of carry, 281 yards of total distance, 7 yards offline, which is not bad whatsoever, even though we're not quite lined up GS Pro to FSX. We're going 26 yards in the air and 32 degrees descent angle. That's launching 11.4 degrees and spinning at basically 2000 RPM. This is launching low and also spinning low as well. CG is supposed to be low, which would then encourage launch. But this is actually, we'll see. Right, let's go give this a whack all over the face. Let's also hit the 7-iron as well, all over the face. 3 different swing speeds, get the heat maps going. Let's go see how good the Stix Complete golf set really is. So how well does the Stix Golf Complete package set get on when you don't hit the middle? On the screen you can see this is the heat map, the representation of what happens when you don't hit the middle. How much ball speed do you lose from those weird and wonderful spots? You've got minus 21 on the left hand side. That is the toe. You've got plus 21 on the right hand side. That is the heel, high and also low. And of course you have that size of green blob. How good is it at keeping ball speed up across the face? Now when you're talking about a flat faced iron, this is, and almost irons are flat faced. Ball speed drop off is very, very close to being correlative to distance. So effectively we're saying here is if you move, let's say 18 millimeters on the left hand side, which is the toe, you're losing in and around about sort of 5% of your distance. Ball speed within reason exactly the same, and then no different if you move over to the heel side. It's slightly more forgiving, the Stix Golf 7-iron. Remember, this is the 7-iron, this is the player's distance kind of design that they've opted for, and generally speaking player's distance is very difficult to try and get all the good parts of getting very fast middle faces to try and get the distance side of things, but because you're talking about a relatively small chassis, it's sometimes difficult to get the consistency across the face. because of the fact that you're trying to pack a lot in a very small head. But if you go over to 18mm on the heel, very close to the shank territory, so please don't hit out the heel if you can. It is more forgiving, it's more consistent from the heel, and you're only around about 4%, just going into the 4% away from the 3, so we're just going out of the green into the yellow, so it's not too bad at all. If you go low on the face, let's say about 15 or so millimeters low, you're moving into about 4% again. It's still doing pretty well directly out the middle, really low at 17mm, but obviously by 17mm low, you're getting very, very close to top territory, so yeah, that's not very good either. But within reason, if you're looking at a moderate miss player, if you're talking about a player which is going to miss quite a bit, then yes, there are definitely more forgiving or consistent irons on the database than this one. We'll go to the radar chart, see how well it works and face speeds, etc. All this information that you've seen when it comes to the heat maps, the radar chart and the self-fit tool. In a second, we'll see how well it works from 3 different swing speeds for the iron and also the driver. It's all available on my website, www.askgolfnut.com, where when it comes to the irons, we've got 100 or so irons to date. And of course, silly season is around the corner. And of course, that will mean that there'll be even more added to the database. When it comes to the drivers is there. However, the driver database is a little bit more in its infancy because we concentrated very much so on the irons first, because a driver with a curved face, will get that one in a little bit, but it's a little bit more difficult to get all the metrics needed. But when it comes to the radar chart, this is a great tool on the silver tier because it allows people to be able to directly compare. I think it's up to 5 different irons together to see how well they work from different parts of the face when it comes to its consistency, but then also its flight as well. You've got face speed, face spin rate and launch factor on the left hand side of the radar chart, and of course those different parts will be very much so golfer specific and what they require. But if you have a look at this one, you can see how it works, but it's not really until you add in the AGN players distance, the average of all the other players distance irons that we've got on the database, to see how well it works against its peer group, shall we say. But on the toe, you can see it's slightly less forgiving than the average. Again, not very much of a surprise. The players distance sector is not the most forgiving sector whatsoever. It is very much so players that want more distance than anything to do with players that want more consistency. Remember also, this is at the moment a $1,200 package set, which is a lot of product for the money. And so considering how cheap effectively the irons are to pitch and wedge, they're doing pretty well bang for buck. Heel, they're about within reason, no different to low, the same as average. It's only the toe that they lose out a little bit. And then forgiveness overall, they're just slightly under the average. But again, you have to remember the cost that these are. Face speed is a measure of if they were all loft for loft adjusted. No differences between a 28 degree and a 34 degree. If they were all, say, 30 degrees, how well would they do? And this Stix Golf Complete set has actually got a faster face off this 7-iron than the average player's distance irons. Remember, we are talking about player's distance irons are the most expensive of the range, and so commonly, quite easily, you can see player's distance going for £200, whatever that is in dollars, per iron. And when you're looking at the cost of these for a full set, it's doing pretty well. Face spin rate is slightly more than the average, and launch factor is slightly less than the average. Generally speaking, when it comes to launch factor and face spin rate, it is CG tracking. So the lower a center of gravity of a head, the higher the launch factor, but then potentially lower the spin. And so you can see here that the Stix Golf CG, the center of gravity, is slightly higher than the average. Now, that's not either good or bad, because different golfers will require different things. And of course, if you need the help getting the golf ball up in the air, very much so for the slow swing speed player, then yeah, having something like very, very high launch factor is a wonderful thing. No different when it comes to face spin rate and even face speed. They're all very much so subjective and what the golfer requires, not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It just depends on which golfer needs what thing. So let's go to the 70, 80 and 90 mile an hour to see how well it does at slower swing speeds. You see me swinging at 90 or so miles an hour. That's great, but not everyone swings at that kind of speed. So this information here, this is the gold tier self-fit tool. It is a great tool because it enables the gold members to be able to put in their own swing dynamics. You can see at the top there, you've got club speed set already at 70 miles an hour. The angle of attack set at -2. That's how much effectively you come down into the golf ball. And shaft lean or D-loft, what dynamic loft do you deliver into the golf ball? So let's just imagine you had a 30-degree lofted 7-iron and you deliver 28 degrees. That would be -2. Some golfers add loft as well, and some golfers even hit up at the golf ball. They are sliders. You can put your own dynamics in there. It will change all of the flights. It will change all of the data on there to showcase how well they will fly, how functional they will be, and also you've got the distances and the gappings as well. So it's a really very, very good tool if you're thinking about buying a set of golf clubs. But you can see at 70 miles an hour, you're looking at carry max 127 yards. So it's doing okay, shall we say. You're looking at average carries 121. So you're losing, give or take, about 6 yards or so. Not a huge amount of distance, but then you're not going a huge amount of distance to start with. So it's doing okay. Peak heights are 22 yards in the air and descent angles at 42.4. So with a 7-iron at 70 miles an hour, it is functional going into a green. Anything 40 degrees or more will basically have a very good chance of stopping. If you're going into a green anything under 40 degrees, it will be the lap of the gods, or you have to be playing on greens which are like swamps to guarantee that to stop. The problem is obviously as soon as you start going into the 5-irons, etc., going in at 40 degrees, and then obviously the 4-iron going at 36.8, that is no way is that going to stop. That's going to go into the green at 160 yards or so and just disappear out of the back. Now the problem obviously with golf course designers, they put bunkers and stuff like that in the way, and so a lot of the time you do have to try and get anywhere near the green. You have to fly it on, and of course that's when you need to understand what is functional, what is not. And of course this is a package set. You don't necessarily get the choice of choosing your composition, which is a little bit frustrating, but then again we look at the cost. And so a lot of golfers do actually look at their 4 or 5s and even 6-irons sometimes. They're a little bit different, a little bit more driving irons, a little bit more running idea. In the real world of if everything was sweetness and light, we'd all love everything to be functional. In a custom fit set, we'd be asking for people to go into a hybrid, direct line iron replacement, or a very high lofted fairway wood to try and get that functionality back. Go to 80 miles an hour though, just 10 miles an hour, things get a little bit better. Carry goes up to around about 150 yards. We're still losing 6 yards or so in our average carry. An average carry is effectively when you miss about a ½ inch or so away from middle, an average normal miss, what kind of distance do you lose? Peak height goes to 29 yards in the air, descent angle at 47.2, so very, very functional now, well over 45 degrees. 45 degrees is the golden magic number because anything over 45 degrees, and it's going to have a really good chance of stopping regardless of how hard the greens are. You've either got to be playing on a US Open greens or a runway for that thing not to stop. And at 80 miles an hour, it does mean that you can go to that 4-iron, and at 42.4, it has a chance of stopping. It's over 40 degrees, but also bearing in mind, 4-iron's got a longer shaft. As soon as you start getting the shaft length longer, you have more of a propensity to miss, so we say. As soon as you miss, you're going to start losing ball speed. You're going to start losing peak height. You're going to start losing descent angle and then start losing control. And so 42.4 with a 4-iron, with it a bit of 7-iron, a little bit closer to work, you're a bit more consistent. I wouldn't be too fussed, but 42.4, it's going to be borderline. I definitely am glad they don't make a 3-iron because, yeah, it wouldn't be functional. Go to 90 miles an hour and you haven't got to worry about anything because now carry yard is 166, still got that 6 yards of difference between your max out of the middle and then your average miss. Peak height is 37 yards in the air, descent angles 51 degrees, and even the 4-irons at 47 degrees, going into a green, lovely, working a treat. And so if you deliver like this, bear in mind, -2, I do this on all my videos to try and have continuity. If you are someone who promotes a little bit more in the way of launch and peak height, then yes, you are going to get a little bit more functionality from a slower swing speed. Generally speaking, -2 is fairly average to shallow, so it already is in the area of trying to get a little bit more in the way of peak height. So let's do the driver, the all-important driver. Driver is different because it has a curved face, different to the flat-faced iron, and so you have to measure it slightly differently. So on the screen, you can see this is the efficiency heat map for a driver, and this basically as if we were to, within reason, assess it like we are the irons. Now, the problem with doing it this way is, as you can see, it's amazingly green. And manufacturers nowadays, regardless of how much drivers cost, it seems, are incredibly good at keeping ball speed up across the face. This is their biggest marketing thing they like to say about keeping ball speed up. You don't lose ball speed when you hit this stuff, that part, all the different parts that you shouldn't really hit but do. And if that was the case, drivers would be amazing, and drivers you'd lose no distance whatsoever from hitting some weird and wonderful spots. But because of the roll and bulge face, you have curved, you have launch differences, you have spin differences, and by that factor alone, you have a big difference in your distance factor. So if we flick over now to the distance factor map, you can see it's slightly different, shall we say. We do also have a blue blob in there, just slightly above the middle. That blue blob is effectively a hotspot. Not a hotspot in the way of speed, it's hotspot in the way of further distance than the middle. So out of the middle it goes 0, as in the case of no distance gain, no distance lost, it's just effectively 0. And then of course as soon as you move away, you'll have a difference in launch and also spin as well. And because of the fact that this driver is quite a low launching and quite low spinning, we'll go into the advanced data in a little while so you can actually see, it's a little bit better slightly higher in the face. You do have to be wary though. Obviously we'll go back into talking about the advanced data in a sec, what happens if you hit too high in the face and how sensitive it is at hitting high in the face. But it's the butter zone on this golf club is fractionally high and fractionally toe to get the most out of it. But you can see it's an interesting driver because most drivers, if anything, off the toe, they are better than the heel. So you'll always, generally speaking, have a bit more of green going over that way. But this one is actually a little bit more consistent, we'll call it, forgiving is effectively consistency, with a little bit more consistent off the heel than it is the toe. And of course if you go low on the face as well, you're going to get lower launch, you're going to get a slightly higher spin. This is already a slightly low launching and slightly low spinning driver anyway, so adding a little bit of lower launch to it is probably not going to be the best for absolute distance. So 3 different swing speeds before we look at the advanced data. This is at 80, 95 and 110 miles an hour, and already you can see by the bottom graph, you can see that there's a little bit of a curve to the left if we were looking at it like that, but up from that point of view. And that means it's slightly draw biased, as you can see. It's not too much, especially when you swing at 80 miles an hour. You can see on there, ball speed's 114.1, launching at 11.4, not the highest. Spin is at 1636. Now, this is all delivered at 16.5 degrees of dynamic loft and hit up by 4.5 degrees. I hit up at the golf ball. Different golfers will do different things, and of course, that is why you have the driver self-fit tool to be able to add your own swing dynamics in there to see what kind of the driver's going to do for you. But it means that it's launching at 11.4, which is okay. It's not great. It is a little bit low, but it's okay. And spin is even lower. 1636 is borderline not even enough to keep the golf ball up in the air. A lot of golfers talk about iron spin and how low iron spin can be, but compared to a driver, spin is there for consistency of flight with an iron. When it comes to driver, in this case, it's to try and keep the golf ball up in the air because it's not going to have enough lift at 1636 and a ball speed of 114. Peak height is a grand total of 10 yards, which is not much whatsoever, and then descent angle 21.2 degrees. That is coming in proper shallow. So whatever distance you get, 144 yards, you're going to be gaining a fair bit more in bounce, and roll. And of course, summertime, that's wonderful. Wintertime, when it's very, very much so more moist on the ground, and it basically stops where it lands, that's going to be a rather short drive. And -3 offline, 3 yards to the left-hand side draw. Obviously, it's only going 144 in the air, so it's not going to be that much. Go to 95 miles an hour, ball speed's up to 135.5, 136, we'll round it up. Launch is still 11.4, does not change. If you change your swing speed, only the ball speed, the peak height, descent angle, and carry obviously change, and also spin, but we're not talking about anything to do with launch conditions. They stay exactly the same. Spins at 1943, so even at 95 miles an hour, we are not at 2000 RPM yet. This is quite a low spinning driver, low launching and also low spinning. We've got carry now up to 12, so not bad. Peak height is 20 yards in the air, so still not very high, but that's because it doesn't launch very high and it doesn't spin the golf ball very much. Descent angles are 30.5, so still under 40 degrees. So that's still going to want to chase down the fairway, very much so more in the summer than the winter. And offline now is at -8, so it's now drawing 8 yards from a middle strike delivered basically like a robot would. 110 miles an hour now. We're looking at ball speed 157. We'll round it up, that 0.1 of a mile an hour. Launch does not change, 11.4. Spins at 2250 now, so we have to go to 110 miles an hour to get that spin up at 2.2, which is okay. I'd still rather get that launch up a little bit. Remember, this does have a adjustable loft sleeve. It is a package set, but does have adjustability on that driver, which is mega important, because if you are a slow swing speed golfer, I'd be wanting to ram that loft up as high as it possibly can go, because you're going to need the help getting the golf ball up and keeping it in the air. Carries 264 yards, which is not bad at all. Peak heights at 33 and still descent angles at 39 degrees, which is still under 40 degrees. So even though it's going 264, which is not massively long, but not bad, it's going to chase down there in the summer. When it comes to winter time, I'd rather be getting that launch going a little bit, see if we can get a little bit more carry down there, but it's going to be very, very good in the summer. And when it comes to offline, we're now at minus 13 yards of draw bias from this golf club. When you hit it out the middle, everything's 0, so it is a little bit draw bias, shall we say. Let's have a look at the advanced gauges. This will give you a little bit more understanding of just how draw bias, etc. this is. This is effectively up against all the other drivers, so the lowest in one and the highest in one will set the ranges, etc. And so you can see face speed wise, we are looking at a low to average. It's not the fastest face in the world. Again, when we're looking at the performance of the website, it says 99% performance of drivers that cost $650. Well, that is very much so subjective to the person who needs what setup. So this is a low launching, low spinning driver. For someone who is already low launching and low spinning anyway because of their dynamics, this will not help them at all. If you go to someone who launches the golf ball way too high and spins the golf ball way too much, which arguably there's a lot more of those golfers out there, actually this golf club could be amazing for those golfers, and you get more distance because of that over the $650 versions. But you can see launch factor is quite low, face spin rate is also quite low. The vertical spin change is basically a measure of what happens when you miss high or low on the face, the vertical change on the face, and how much spin is changed, how sensitive to curvature. But from a vertical point of view, obviously curvature left and right is spin axis change, we'll do that one afterwards. But it is very sensitive, this driver. Every single millimeter that you move vertically on the face, you will change your total spin profile by 4.5%. So you can see already on a driver which does not spin the golf ball a lot anyway, if you hit higher on the face and you're starting to lose 4.5% of your spin for every millimeter you move vertically, if you just start moving 10 millimeters, you don't have to do too much math to move decimal places over, that will fall out of the sky. So you just have to be aware of that. When it comes to spin axis change, how good is it at being stable from a point of view of left to right curvature? So every single millimeter you move laterally across the face, how much curvature does it apply to the golf ball? And actually it's really very, very good. This is a very stable driver. It's a very, very good driver for someone who misses laterally across the face. Finishing off on the bias, it's draw. You can definitely see it's draw. Very drawy. There's not many golf clubs on the database which are more drawy than this. It doesn't really take too much of an effect until you start going into the 110 or the 100 miles an hour. If you're down at 80 miles an hour, you'll be absolutely fine. I mean, there's a 3 yards of turn, unless you're a delivery which keeps the golf ball up in the air because you are high launching, slightly higher spinning person anyway, and you utilizing the characteristics of the lower launching, lower spinning head to try and maximize distance. And of course, when it stays in the air for a fraction longer, it will draw a little bit more, but it is fairly draw biased. So to conclude very quickly on the Stix Golf Complete Package Set, let's go by looks, feel, performance and forgiveness. Looks and feel first. Looks wise, I love it. I think Stix Golf have done an amazing job. This is a complete package set. So you get the putter, you get all the wedges, 60, 56, 52, you get pitch and wedge to 4-iron, you get a hybrid, you get a fairway wood, and you get the driver. Just a really, really good package set. The aesthetics of it is impressive. Because of the fact that it is a package set, you have an opportunity to get everything all one coloured. The fact that it's got the black band with the red accents here when it comes to like the tabs on the bag, or the lineup lines on the irons and a little marker at the top when it comes to the drive, it does look really quite cool. Could do with a little bit more on the padding, etc. on the straps, or make a cart bag option, but it's really very, very good. Performance and forgiveness. This is where you do have to marry in how much these cost into the equation. Obviously, if you're talking about going up against premium options where a full bag can be many thousands of dollars quite quickly, quite easily. This is a relatively budget-friendly option. It is a very good bang for your buck set. Is it the most forgiving thing in the world? Is it the most or best performing thing in the world? No. If this golf club is going to be used by someone who hits the golf ball way too high and spins it way too much, it can actually be longer easily than their $650 premium driver. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go and give it a big old thumbs up. Hit that like button. You do it like, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free. It's great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. Next to that one is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that'll let you know next time I upload another video. Hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.